Okay, guys, hope y'all are having a good Thursday, and let's get started. We're going to be in Hebrews 11. Going to keep it kind of short today. We're just reading one verse. As you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking just briefly about burdens. And I'm sure if you um, are alive on this planet, at some point you carry your burden. You've carried a burden. Um, and we're just going to talk about letting that burden go, laying it down and not picking it back up. So we're going to start off in Hebrews 11, verse 6. And guys, these lessons, they're for me. They are they are periods in my life that I am either currently dealing with or I've dealt with, and it's just how God just is working in my life to show me things. And this is just one of those things that He has shown me, and I'm grateful for it, because I'd probably be a very miserable person if I didn't realize this. But we're so Hebrews 11, verse 6, I'm just going to read one verse. It says, "And without faith it is impossible to please him, for whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him." And I know you're wondering why I would pick a verse pertaining to burdens that talks about having faith in God and just believing that he exists. Well, this verse in particular, it says, "And without faith, it is impossible to please God." If you want to please God, have faith in God. And I think you might see where this is going. When we have faith in God to be able to actually take our burdens away from us, help heal us, that pleases God. That pleases Him. And I know we can have faith in a variety of different ways or for different things. But for this particular instance, it's just with our burdens. Having faith in God to carry your burdens for you is, well, I kind of said this already, but this is directly proportional to pleasing God. So, and what I mean by that is, have faith that God will take care of your problems. Have faith that God will, pay that bill that you've got coming up and you don't know how it's going to get paid. Have faith in God that He's going to provide your next meal for you. Have faith in God that loved one you've been praying for months and years is going to be saved. That pleases God. So as you have more and more faith in God, as you trust God more and more, He's pleased more and more with you. So that's what I mean by it's directly proportional. The less faith you have, it's not the less love God has for you, but it just saddens Him. It displeases Him when we don't trust Him. So let's go over to Matthew. Oops, and I thought I had my spot. We're in Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. And it says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. You will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus wants us to to come to Him and bring Him our burdens, our sorrows, our problems. I wrote something, and I don't even know if I can find it quickly. I probably can't, but it's I've had this Bible since 1995. I don't know if you can see that. My mom and dad gave it to me, but I was going through here and I was studying up on. Oh, look at that! I found it. I was studying up on a Bible lesson that I was doing for our kids at our church, and something that I wrote in here has stuck with me for a long time. And it wasn't until the Holy Spirit revealed something to me that I wrote it in pen, so there's no erasing it out of my Bible. But what I wrote in here was, before we can approach God, before we can come to God with anything, we have to be clean. And I don't know why I wrote that. I don't know the instance that I wrote that on, but I can tell you something that God has shared with me is I am never going to be perfect. I'm never going to be without I'm never going to be perfectly clean. I'll be perfect when I'm in heaven with him. But while I'm here on earth, I can't remember every sin that I've ever done. I can't remember that. I can just ask God, God, please forgive me for whatever I've done today. But, when, and I'm kind of rabbit trailed, but I want to get back to this. With our burdens, it's hard. You can go to God and give God your burden and give it to him. You don't have to come to him going, okay, whew, I'm done. I can walk away from this. Everything's perfect. Everything's great. Moving on. A lot of times we go to God, we're broken about something. We don't. We want him. We want to know that he can do something. We want to trust him, but we come to him so hesitant. We come to him in disbelief. I've done it. I'll admit that. I understand the person that I am, the human that I am, but I need to come to God and he say, God, take this from me. Because Jesus says, give me your burdens. Give everything to me, please. Because he says, my burden is easy. I feel like, and I don't know if this is scriptural, but when we're saved and God saves us, we should have a burden for the lost. That's not a bad burden to have. And it's not a burden that we should feel downtrodden about, like, just down in the dumps because, we're not seeing people be saved. It should be a burden in a sense where, we want to tell other people about Jesus because we know what joy and happiness that he can bring. Our lives aren't going to be perfect. Jesus says it, if they hated me, they're going to hate you. And unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in. God says it's not going to be easy once you're saved. Life actually sometimes it gets a little bit more difficult. But what we do have is we have the love of the Heavenly Father. We have the gift of the Holy Spirit. We have that Father that we can talk to anytime we need. But to round this up, I heard this said a long time ago, and I've always just kind of hung on to it. Pilgrim's Progress, the book I was telling y'all about that, I was reading it to my girls, is Christian, and he's got this backpack on. It's just full of all sorts of things. But we treat our burdens as if they're backpacks. It's our burden to bear. We've got to carry it. It's this weight on our back, weighing us down. And we go to God, we say, God, I want you to take this burden from me. So we might, wherever you're at, or you're praying, or you could go down to an altar or whatever. And you pray and you ask God to take that burden. But in your heart, in your mind, as you turn and walk away, you just can't help but grab a hold of that strap on that backpack and take it with you. Because you're not trusting God. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And it displeases him because I'm not having faith that he can do that he can take care of my burdens. So I want to encourage you. I want to let you know it can be done. Even if sometimes we don't really mean it at that moment because we're not actually at the point where we can drop that burden because we're not fully trusting God for that. I want to encourage you just to keep doing it, just to keep saying, God, please take this from me. God, please take this from me. I have faith that you're going to take this. I trust you. Wow, I can give it to you. And I really can walk away. And you really can give me a burden that is a lot lighter. And that burden isn't a bad burden at all. So when we can fully leave it there, fully leave our burden there with God, he will lighten our load quite a bit. But you have to trust him. You have to trust him. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time.